Eagles Soar here on a Saturday night. It's always a lot of fun, and I'm just going to tag Karen and see if she's ready to come in with us. Kyler, we got you on the line.
Ma'am, yes, them, yes, that. Yes, everybody.
There you are. How are you?
Yes,
doing?
everybody. Hey, what are you up to? I'm here. I crawled in here today. This flu's been kind of in and out, but I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, you're stubborn like the rest of us. Got to get the job done, right?
Yeah. Yesterday's show was worse. I was really sick, but today I'm feeling better. Like coming on with you.
Well, there you go. Hey, Saturday night's always a hoot. You know that.
Always a hoot.
Always.
What's going on tonight?
Well, just going to do a little update on the week and, get your take on what's been going on around you. And we have Karen joining us tonight, and she's got some neat stuff regarding, clan mother law, stuff like that, a lot of healing. So it's going to be kind of an interesting show tonight. We're going to be solution driven. How's that?
Wonderful. Yeah. I'm always game for that.
Yeah, well,
we've had a good week all the way around. I've just been writing a lot. I've been behind on some of my articles and been behind on some of my research. So I've just kind of sit back and caught up. Got away from the computer for a while and wrote about 20 articles. So that's helps me to catch up. And then I've done a little homework for school, and we haven't got a car yet. I know that doesn't have anything to do really with radio, but it kind of sort of does. We're looking for a vehicle, as you know how hard that is sometimes.
Oh, yeah. No, I've been there for the last month, and I'm happy to report, did a shout-out, and the listeners came through and got Tony and myself and one other individual back to zero, which is perfect.
Yeah. Then I had Don. Of course, I had Don Adams on. Wow, we got a zillion hits on that show. He hadn't been on with me in a while, and we kind of caught up with him and Vicky and the drama and the soap opera and the news station and Alex Jones and his new direction in life and just a lot of interesting things there. I wasn't expecting to have him on. It kind of happened overnight, just bang. So interesting. You know Don Adams.
Yep.
Yeah. He's back in the saddle again. So.
Well, you got to like that when that happens. I just want to make sure we have Karen in the call. Karen, are you there?
Hi, how are we doing tonight?
Good, and I was waiting for you because I know you're always so polite and you mute. I thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Yeah, it's a little delay in there. Just in case we have any background, we know how that reverberates into the show, so we don't want to distract from that. So
no
we've got
worries.
such important things to talk about.
Yeah, I know. Well, we were talking a little bit earlier, and you just touched on a couple of things, and then I thought, what a great idea. Let's bring Karen in. So we got all the K's tonight. So tonight is the KKK show, the Kyler, Kate, and Karen.
Cool.
I love it.
Wow. There you go. Nothing like putting a positive spin on that one, huh?
Exactly. We got our own clan show going. That's great.
Well, it's kind of funny because there was two other people that I used to do Saturday shows with at a flea market. It was awesome. It was an outdoor thing, and it was all summer, and it's actually a good paying gig too. And it was myself, former name, which was still a K, right, and Kevin and Kent. So people asked me the one time, so what are you guys called? Says, we're called the KKK band. Right? And of course, you get the and then people start laughing and they get it. It's like, lighten up, get over yourselves. It was a joke, But anyway, so lots to talk about tonight. So Kyler, meet Karen. Karen, meet Kyler, and let's get some stuff solved. Where do you guys want to start?
Oh, geez. I just wanted to share what the best day ever was about today.
Go ahead, Karen.
Can we share? How would that be?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Guess why you're hanging out with us tonight.
Oh, yeah. I love hanging out. It's so much fun, right? So just wanted to introduce myself and say hi, and thank everyone for listening, and also thank everyone for being there. And as Kate knows, we have this cute little thing we like to make sure that it's okay with you. But what we're doing is everything commerce-free, and that we're speaking freely now, and that we're sharing the best of all of our gifts, the best food, the best everything, whatever those gifts are. But benevolently for all, and that's actually in living the great law of peace.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
unity, and for all our freedom. So if that's okay with you, that's how we operate. We do gifting, and we're outside the system. So that's cool.
That's more than cool. And just I know Kyler was listening. I had to mute your mic there, Kyler, because there was some crazy sound coming off. So I was just going to type it to you, just to let you know if you can on your end mute. That would be awesome. Just when we're not talking, because it just gets crazy. Anyway, carry on, Karen.
Yeah, we just wanted to share. We actually did a guest live stream in today to the Alchemy event, which is going on all week down in Los Angeles with David Farman. And so that's the Alchemy event with the Cosmic Activation crew going as well internationally. So there's people like Jordan Maxwell and Andrew Biseglia and stuff like that. There's 33 speakers actually around the world tonight. All weekend. We've been in and out this weekend. So we just wanted to share some of the great things, that have been occurring. And for those people that aren't aware, is that we've been off the grid and off the commerce system for a long time. And we had some great proclamations that we sent into Elizabeth, but also to the Hague Court, Oath Keepers, and different agents or assigns. And we did this from the basis of what we call the Star Nations, or as Clan Mothers. It's known as the Passes of Misses as well, but it stems from some very old treaties, and so regardless of the color, it goes back to our bloodline. So we were very excited about this, and we were sharing some of the different events that have occurred of late. One was that up here, where I am in today right now, is Saskatoon. We're on the South Saskatchewan River, for those of us that don't know where we are. So we're kind of in the middle of the bold prairies up here. And a few weeks ago, we actually had one of the, there was a really nice man that came up, terrorists from the, actually for the Saskatoon City Police being dispatched from apparently someone from the RCMP, which is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police up here. And it was interesting because they wanted to, do some arrests and warrants and stuff, for failure to file taxes and all that. And of course, we know that we're not a name and all this. So by the time we were done, we ended up shaking hands. We invited him to have Kangen water. We would help each other the best way we could. And so to make a long story short, when we went down to the Saskatoon City Police down to detention, virtually, we were told after the end of the discussion, it took longer to get down there and back than it did to be there, but we're unwarrantable and we're unarrestable. And apparently there's no paperwork because we don't exist in their jurisdiction anymore. So we just wanted to share that. That was a huge, huge thing that we had for fun. And we really, did develop a nice relationship, and it's all about attempting to get establish communications quite well. And aside from giving non-consent to be patted down, which is an international incident, an act of war and treason to touch a clan mother, which can be dealt with as well. So when incidents do occur, we go to the Hague Court. But we just wanted to share that because a lot of the stuff people weren't aware, we actually did file in this incredible proclamation. And part of what this proclamation had to do with, we thanked Elizabeth and stuff like that for, that we came here in peace and to be friends, and that we did remind these guys that we do know that what the original flag and the laws mean. And we reminded him that as a clanman we have title to the crown and that we supersede him, and that we thanked him for being there to actually protect us and to honor his oath as a peacekeeper. And so that was one of the things that, we said is that we would help to maintain the peace, obviously. So we just wanted to put that out there, that it really is about living peacefully and having respect and love for people, and that we did send off this official letter that was consistent with my covenant, and that as an angel, in our little angelic way, having arrived here in what we call the Shwetback Nations, that we set this knowing that we were the first law of the land here and sent by the Creator, and that we asked and gave command, actually, that they were commanded to cease and desist from committing any further crimes of high treason, and that all the monetary transactions were to be stopped immediately, and that was included the bank accounts known as Canada and British Columbia and all the others internationally and worldwide. Also, what we did ask, and I should say ask, but really we put a command for, but when we put these through was also the release of all the documents from the Vatican. So a lot of stuff like this is actually starting to manifest after a very short time of being about 6-8 weeks when these documents were actually sent in and hand-delivered to The Hague. So we just wanted to share some of this because this is actually happening. And one of the great things that hit me is that, and one of those great epiphany aha moments, was that we're going to, in Saskatoon, for example, we still want to hand-deliver this to one of the guys acting for the Canadian Military Air Forces and also for the RCMP and Saskatoon City Police, Sheriff's Office, whatever, is that these incidents that we're dealing with, because again, we put remedies into these documents. It wasn't that we just sat there and did a proclamation and we put down the numerous violations that had occurred from fluoride and all sorts of things, and EMFs and HARPs and all sorts of things. But the remedies were in there. And again, this was already, we're starting to see these remedies starting to occur because there's no point in laying blame unless we can provide remedies and solutions. So it was a very solution-oriented as well type of document that went through. But we just wanted to put that forth because one of the things that we were talking about is that all the waterways, the airways, everything that we're sitting with here, and all that Crown land we have title to, all the water treatments are actually sitting on there. So this is the way to open up the dams and start actually stopping things like fluoride and stuff. So the buck stops here literally, and these documents are going to be again filed in probably in the next week, again into the Saskatoon area. They have been filed in the Sinixt Nations, but they'll be filed again here. So we just wanted to let you know. And then further to that, as an addendum, what we're going to do is we're also going to put forth another reclamation, is that we actually know Elizabeth is acting really on the corporation part, but is that she's really not a queen. And we're really quite aware of that. And that we're going to, again, put the claim and reclamation forth because it is actually our land for the Anglo-Saxons. You've got Mercia and Northumbria and all that, and all the Cleopatra tribes that we're actually just going to bring balance back to an imbalanced system and reclamation of our land for those empires. So we just wanted to show you where we're at, what we're doing. We had a brief discussion today, not only with you, Kate, but I just got off the Skype with Santos as well.
Oh, good girl.
Yeah.
And just so you know, Kyler, I know is going to have a lot of questions for you, so I'm really going to be sitting back on this because Kyler needs to hear what's going on from this perspective, and this is why I'm really happy you're here tonight because you're going to love this, Kyler.
Oh, you should have seen Santos was like, I said, so do you guys think to add in here? And we could use all the help we could get from you guys, really, or anyone that's out there, right? So we talked about last time when we were on about the 3 proclamations, and technically it's been sent out 4 times. So we're going to do a few more out here, but this is one of the things, too, is that we're just putting forth here, because there were these treaties actually put forth, were known as nobility. That's where the noble elements are seen, comes in the same gospel peace, but as a savage. And it was a Treaty of Guadalupe and stuff. So all these treaties with the United States and stuff like that actually are in trust rights. So a savage can actually claim the right of discovery, actually. And so the Bear Clan is actually on that flag, and we found the original, if you want to say petroglyphs, flags, whatever, glyphs, to that, which actually when we'll just say the descendants of Queen Victoria came in, and it was put for all to see in the Great Seal of Britain, the Union in 1886, but that the people were to come over here and live in peace. And that peace, because it's Bear Clan territory held by and run under the Bear Clan laws, which was to be obviously no commerce. And those agreements were in there, so what people see is the little white wave, the purity, and it has to do with stuff to do with the clean air and the water, and the grass grows, and the 3 roses are in there, and the Trinity, Triune Confederacy, and stuff like that. Everything is within there, but a lot of that has been taken away and put into juxtaposition and changed. And again, as long as the light rises and the rivers flow and the grass grows, that this treaty is into place. And because of the numerous violations from the Treaty of Tordesillas to discovery to all sorts of things have been violated, and everything we went at, the palpables, everything. So Santos's last comment was, he says, honey, you did more than it would have taken me 3 lifetimes to even figure it out. So
well, that's why we all do what we do. We're all doing what we need to do in our collective roles to uncover things and get awareness out. We're just pieces of the puzzle, and we each have a different piece to play into that picture. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So he was so happy. He says, what can I say after that? He says, of course, we're going to help. And so we're going to see what we can go through to move this. So if this is kind of new information to you, a lot of people aren't that aware of these sort of, that were considered to be hidden, dormant, or occult laws. And there's no more secrets, you know. So that's what we want to do, is speak freely and get this kind of information out, because the sooner we get people educated and back into that loop, the sooner we get things cleaned up here. And that's what it is. I feel like we're on the ground crew of the cleanup crew here, and using things like waters, Kangen waters, and whatever we have, and get like the people like David Wolf and Ronnie Landis or whoever, but some of the best foods ever and superfoods for people, the sooner we're going to start healing and move everyone up vibrationally for activation here. So I'd just like to leave it there for a minute and let you guys jump in and see what we can do to add here and collaborate, co-create here. How's that?
Well, Kyler, jump in, my friend. I've talked to Karen many times, so I'm sure you'll have lots of questions.
Karen, I'm just amazed at your articulation and your wisdom and your intelligence and your intent and your passion. I'm completely in awe, and that doesn't happen very often to me. I'm amazed at the way you articulate this, and I'm interested in what you're doing. I'm very, very interested in what you're doing for my network also. How did this come about? How did you get your experience in all of this? And this, I know the passion's there, but how did you get the intellectual experience to sit down and actually work on these documents and actually follow through to these documents and know where to send them and how powerful they were or not and so forth?
Well, we always have like a really good teacher or somewhere a mentor. Actually, we were quite involved, our children actually. It became through the legalese as opposed to the law side of things. And my children's dad, Allie and Alex's dad, John Kwok, is in Saskatoon. He's a legal barrister and solicitor. And we'll just say he was Jesuit trained, and there's a lot of stuff to do with the MK Ultra, and the children became involved in these things, unbeknownst to me. And then when it became to my awareness, we became quite active, and obviously the people within the system tried to shut us down. So there were large things. Saskatoon is a huge mecca, actually, for MK Ultra. So for those of you that don't know where Saskatoon is, sure will soon. Besides having the medicine wheel and like the best wheel ever, and Manitou Springs and all sorts of things up here, is that we went through our own, learning curve from being a nurse and doing quantum medicine and replacing from drugs to essential oils, and we do colonics, all sorts of radionic, cool Tesla stuff. So along with that came learning the legalese and the law. And so we had some of the largest legalese, probably, cases they ever did see here. Literally, it's in binders. And these guys kept me fairly busy, I guess, talk about teaching in some way. The sad part was that the children were grossly affected and kept away from me for quite some time. So, again, having the children disclose these kind of things that was happening, and this was right at the time, if people aren't aware of, water war crimes and what was going on with the children molestation, pedophilia and stuff, is that some of the largest cases and experiments were done in Saskatoon. So you could Google like the Martinsville trial. So this was all sort of the same peoples all involved here. The residential schools, again, one of the headquarters is Merchant Law Group, which is, of course, out of Saskatoon with Tony Merchant, and what was going on there. So, again, it all ties into this. Potato. Synchrotron is here. The Jesuits are trained here at Pope Pius X on the University of Saskatchewan campus. the RC and P are trained 2.5 hours south, and Dundurn is sitting with the largest weapons storage facility half an hour down the road.
Wow.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in here, and people have no idea. Even the psychiatric drugs were done in North Battleford at the psychiatric. This is where Hoffer did his experiments in lobotomy.
Are you there? I lost you.
To deal with John and the children and failure to do, we knew that was all de facto at the time, and we had taken several different courses. So we've met from Robert Menard to Winston Shrout many times, and again, all learning. But again, it didn't make sense. And in the simplest form, is it's all about love. And when you're in fear, you're not in love. And when you're dependent on someone else for your survival, you're not in love. And probably one of the best teachers ever is actually someone, let's say, of the caliber of David Avocado Wolf. And these were different people that we've met that are in the freedom movement and having, studied things that say, let's say, Nassim Harriman and Dr. Gary Young, and having, the blessings to have, I guess, been diligent. And as a mama bear, we never give up, and you don't cross and hurt our children ever. And there's a covenant that we made with the children when they came to me crying and in fetal positions telling me about the abuse that they were suffering at the hands of these different people and coming back from, these little lawyer gatherings and stuff, that we knew what they were speaking about was truth. And we would never wish any mother or child to ever go through this again. So in honoring to my children, even though they may have very little recollection at this point, things can be changed. And so we spent the next 15 years learning the law and learning what the solutions are. There's no point pointing fingers. Doing things to other people just perpetrates and perpetuates the abuse. That's not what we want to see have done. These people have committed these crimes, and as hideous as they are, it does not stop what's going on. And so it's for us to get ourselves into peace and into alignment, and that love always dissipates any kind of anger or fear. And so we're here to support each and every individual, including these people. It's been a lack of love and a lack of forgiveness that we've seen this kind of stuff perpetuate on. And so our role is also to assist them, but to make sure that this does not occur again.
Karen, do you belong to a movement? Is it like an outdoor movement? Is it like a communal type of movement? Or is it just each individual family living in different locations and coming together to solve these problems?
That's actually a great question. Part of being self-governing and self-aware is the part that individual is part of it. So there's no actual formal, obviously, organization, not anything to do with the corporations for that part.
Yeah.
What we have set up is a land reclamation.
Yes.
And we did that in a place called Halfway Hot Springs, which is in the Sinaiac Nations, 2 hours north of what you would call Nelson, and just south of Revelstoke, and what's between the Okanagan and the Rocky Mountains there. So the land reclamation was actually done. And having said that, what we did is put forth that in that Sinaiac territory being out, so that was my first thing, was to protect the watershed and get the waters, and myself to go there for 2 years and get cleaned out. So having, again, learned about recycling, composting. We literally left Saskatoon after 40-some years and running a medical center here, we might add, with not one stitch of garbage. Everything was recycled. And in fact, we cleaned out our friends' garbage and the Saskatoon City garbage.
Wow, that's wonderful.
And, learning about what permaculture is, learning about biodynamics, being in the pit homes, doing some of the original ceremonies with the Sinaiacs, with our brothers and sisters, learning what we could do to help people in whichever which way, participating in medicine wheels and gatherings, intertribal, indigenous, and international gatherings like at Lillooet, and being able to share the information. So we invite people to come up there. The reason also that was a chosen land, so to speak, is that the hot springs are there to start with, but we have probably the least amount of EMFs and radiation there. There are actually periods or points in that area that you actually can't get any wireless, which means we're also not getting any radiation or brain damage.
Right.
For crystals, monatomics, it's some of the highest and best waters ever in the world. And we've had to use the Kangen machines, unfortunately. And part of the Kangen is that it returns the water back to the original structure, like Dr. Emoto's microclusters, alkalizes, which most can do. But this is a medical-grade system that was developed by the doctors in Japan. And having been a colonic hydrotherapist myself and ran my own medical center and doing skill biofeedback and stuff, we knew the importance of basically DNA restoration or immortality runs back into the colon. And so once that colon is clean, there is no disease processes. It connects to everything else. And on top of that, once you have that, that's one of the key points, remineralizing, getting regrounded back again, cleaning the lower chakras and organs. And once you've done that, you can move very quickly to DNA restoration, which is basically, like I said, that's like being a Solarian in your breath area. And so we've been able to transcend and do that for a little while too, on and off. So I think
what about
that's
the
really
public? What about the public, Karen, around you there? How are they taking all of this, or are they, or have they? You know, do they have an idea of what's going on? And I guess my next question to thread with that would be the media. Has the mainstream media picked up on this in a big way there, or the newspapers, radio, television, etc., to be able to get the word out that you all are doing this, or do you even really want a lot of people to know right now what's going on?
Well, those are two really good questions. Okay, one, we use the general population or the individuals here, I guess, collectively for community. We wouldn't use the terms per se public, having differentiated what the difference between a public person and a private person is, inhabitants. So there's kind of 4 classifications of people. So we really want to open this up so that everyone has the opportunity. So it's kind of like they have the ability to know what a noble savage is, because we actually all derive from the same creator. So having said that, the people that are around in those areas are very supportive. Obviously, we couldn't have been out there for 2 years without the assistance of a lot of these people and a lot of the brothers and sisters in the area. Having said that, they've provided lodgings, not only lodges, but lodgings. And we've done food, we've grown together, we've spit, like Anastasia, in many different gardens and planted seeds. We also do what you call community contribution. So in each one of those, you know, we still put in hours of, you know, enjoyment and passion, whether it be into the gardens, weeding. Myself, we've helped set up colonics, mini health centers. We still do massage. We still do consults internationally as well. So a lot of people, as we don't take cash back, they'll provide some food or something like that, or essential oils or whatever, to put the community back together that way, or put something that's required at the time. The radio and stuff, as to your second question here, and to the media and stuff, is that we've actually just started doing a lot of this on Facebook, but through Facebook and going to different health things like the Body, Soul, Spirit Expo. So we're going to be there like the 5th, 6th, and 7th. We've been on the circuit for numerous years. Chandler Armstrong and Brock Simpson have been extremely helpful in that, getting the word out. And we've done a lot of stuff in Saskatoon, but the last 2 years have been a little low-keyed. And part of it is we were actually tied up, if you can believe it, for about 2 months, laid up in bed with a triple fractured ankle. What we did get is a lot of word of mouth, because we didn't use the allopathic system. We actually put this fractured ankle back like Humpty Dumpty and glued it all back together with matrix energetics. So we were trained by people that say like Dr. Richard Bartlett, Melissa Johnson, and Karen Sperling, and we've got an entire slew of people that we've been trained in so many different modalities, beyond Reiki to quantum touch to, you know, the international universities of quantum integrative medicine. There are very few of that caliber in the world. Doing emotional release, things like that. So we haven't really gone into the gross main media stream. We're just starting to get out through these ways. And to me, this is actually more important. We've done a lot of one-on-one But at this point, meeting with Kate and meeting with Santos and really just starting to talk it up with people that we've respected over the years. And it's time to start coming forward. And people like David Farman have brought the Alchemy event so that we're being live streamed in through video. We're getting in through the grassroots this way and meeting with people. They've given a lot of support, meeting in with the indigenous tribal, if you want to say, people. And so, I mean, I've met with one guy, even people that say like Red Jacket and stuff like that and been in these places. And as they've said to us is that, we've the whole Anishinaabe Federation, I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of tribes that comprise literally millions of people worldwide that have gifted me their, if you want to say, support. So
Yeah.
It's a matter of semantics.
It is semantics, Karen. And I mean, we walk around all these words so many times. And listen, the spell was broken last summer, right down to the flower of life. Let's just get over it, and we'll just speak regular, what is commonly understood as. That goes to everybody. I was just thank you for inspiring that moment. Oh, yeah. Yes. Dare we ask?
Yeah.
No, Karen,
yeah.
I was gonna
to start going that way. Yeah.
Have you ever been called a cult? Has anyone ever been afraid of you for the children, or looking at the David Koresh situation? Have you ever had anyone come at you like that from the area and had any negative vibes come in? Heavy.
Again, having been incarcerated, probably I'd say overall 4 or 5 months, maybe in total every time we were in there, I'd consider that coming against the clan mum. From injections to all sorts of stuff to being heavily investigated and being asked things if we were setting up, like, stuff like Waco and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'll consider that like acts of war and treason,
yes.
in that way. Even to being patted down a few weeks ago in the Saskatoon City Police by Nicole, which was, as we said, without our, consent, and we made that very clear in front of every man that was sitting there. And they did know what we were talking about. So those are things that can be dealt with. For the most part, though, most people that are educated, they've just been waiting for this glimmer ray of hope. We've gone into so many things like the Cedar Rent and been to, let's say, with Sequoia True Blood, people that have been in the Green Berets and have been trained by the Kogies and stuff like that, that have like, oh my gosh, finally the angels are here. They said that they've been classified as inhabitants, which is really what a third world is that runs a patriarchal system. And that they've been put onto these bands of reserves without any rights. And so in dealing with people like Alfred Weber and Kevin Annette out in Nanaimo, we've spent really the last 3-4 years, well, probably 2-3, literally almost out of a suitcase on the road,
Wow,
carrying medical equipment, essential oils. And we virtually gifted everything else, went on the road. Primarily stayed in that Siniak, New Denver Hills area around the cusp there to Nelson, but been on the tour a bit and met with the different people and got to know the people. And that's where it's really about. And it's about being an example. And really, it's as long as myself is in alignment. We have been told by people, let's say, associated with CSIS, that, quote unquote, we're monitoring the clan mothers in 3D real time, and we're going to let you go. And we started laughing, going, well, we're not in your jurisdiction.
Yeah, that is so funny. We're going to let you go. No, you don't have a choice, Dick. Move along, Gumshoe.
And what was really funny is that he was trying to get me to go with him, which was kind of funny. And anyway, so...
What, he asked you on a date? No, I'm kidding.
Well, darn near. Anyway. Yeah, actually they were. And so part of the thing, too, is that we're not with any group or association or doing any of these blood oaths or covenants. That's not where we go. And so we had met people over the years, too, like Mary Croft when we were in Calgary, and Creditors in Commerce. We've kind of studied all those people, and, conscious commerce. I'm just like, that's not where, as a mom, we don't give, de facto monopoly money to children, say, here, this one gets so much and that one gets so much, and that just isn't what love is about. So it was actually pretty easy to set this up. And years ago, when we were presented by, actually, maybe share this. This is a Winston Trout thing. It's really funny, actually. A bunch of our friends, one was Mike File. He was out at Sun Peaks near Kamloops where we arrived on this planet. And Mike had set up to get Winston out there. And so Galen Ray was another quantum practitioner that actually we were together and actually played together in our health center here in Saskatoon for numerous years before he went out to help out with Len Horowitz and then left him subsequently. But they're out in Hawaii now. But a lot of what we were doing at the time was asking questions and learning and being with people like or a guy called Kanik out of Regina and the Anishinaabe Federation and dealing with court stuff and all this sort of thing. But we were at Winston Trout's seminars. He had a couple we tried to set up for Regina, but a couple in Saskatoon. And there was a guy called Tim Phillips, known as Eagle Eye Man, blonde hair, blue eyes, hangs out by about the Grand Cache area. And he wanted to know if anyone knew anything about international law, customs, usages, and clan mothers. Because Elizabeth acts as a white race clan mom. We would be the white tribal one. And we're only 13 nations or bloodlines, all with clan mothers assigned. And the red, let's say, tribes would have 3. So people have heard of wampum belts and peace pipes. So we've had our peace pipe and our alt stuff and taught all those things. We've been gifted our teepee. We have all the lodge pool teachings. We actually, even Rishak and myself, were probably the only one with the lodge that we put together with actually hemp rope. We had
wow, that's neat. Yeah.
You know, everything's traditional. The raw foods. You don't soak. You don't drink. You don't get in there unless everyone's cleaned out. And you know, kind of like that. If you want to say it's like tough love, but the thing is, we've got to preserve what we've got. We've got so little precious resources left here. We have to get to that point where we've got to clean it out and come together in a solution-orientated manner. But all of us do community contribution, geodesic domes, sacred geometry, gardens. You know, we're still collecting kale out there in like December. It was pretty cool. We started playing with Kangen water and watching it freeze into a cosmic egg shape and trying to levitate up like Montauk's. Like, we were having fun out there. Like, seriously, this is about having fun and having the best toys everywhere. You know, and people don't...
Karen, you realize you're melting Kyler's mind, eh?
Huh?
See?
Yeah. But that's one of the things, too. I really have to say, like, truly, one of my great inspirations is people like David Avocado Wolf. And the different people along that line that have gone forth in some ways. And again, we're stricter in that sense from a vegan, vegetarian perspective. So to me, they don't disturb the bee colonies. I'm sure they know how to make their beehives quite well before man came in and decided to put them in square boxes, you know, things along that line. And there are some things with not disturbing certain natures and stuff like that. Those elements. But aside from that, these are people that have gone diligently worldwide. They've been in the free energy momentum. And having said that, each individual's got stuff that they need to deal with. It's quite interesting because most people don't realize they know him from Superfoods back, but very little people know that he's, you know, an Assyrian bishop with Gabriel Cousins and stuff like that. That they're also the forerunners of alchemists as we've been trained as well, Don Carter and stuff. He's been with David Hudson and stuff, but most people are unaware that he's actually a lawyer and has a diverse background in actually eco structure stuff like that. Engineering. So we're looking at things Camp Creed and dealing with people, let's say, like Charles Holmes and Rishak, and one of the other guys was Kai Hickser out of Saskatoon too, and doing innovative things like being out to the Hutterite colony. Getting in the fields and picking like kale, the hemp, and putting things together like hemp juice, and actually juicing that and doing those through our little champion juicers and using them in actually enemas and colonics out here. And so that's the key, is really getting rid of that old information and doing emotional release. So that's actually what, you know, we wanted to share. And I think having been through what we've been through with our children and looking back, like even from being a nurse in neonatal, is that we've all had a part of this, well, to say, I don't even like to say problems, but details, and we all have to come back together co-creatively and do the solution. So right now, there's no point. I'm not getting into stuff and conspiracies and stuff like that. So right now we're solution orientated, and
I couldn't agree more. And I do want to make a very strong point that we're not into the fear porn, guys. We'll leave that to the Anger Joneses and the rest of them that are still caught up in that paradigm of silliness, selling the old. We're into solutions new.
Yeah, and this is one thing we were talking about, like even like going around the sharing circle and really providing for these people too, like a place to have a healing circle, and having the best health and wellness and advanced healing centers there are on the planet. We have all the technology, we know how to do it. I was always dreaming, saying, just get me the best spring water, and David's right with that. Again, having tested some of that, though, like a lot of these have had a positive ORP, so that's part of the magnetic, pole shift happening, plus the microwaving of the planet, plus all the chemtrails, which have permeated into, a lot of our spring water. So I'm still an advocate of these guys have gone all over, him and Daniel Vitalis and people like, Yara Willard and stuff like that. They've gone these foods and get the shagas and being some of the best gardeners ever, and been around the world, and they're locating where all these springs are for the people. They're educated women. They said, that's it. We realize these women are angels. We're here, and that we're honored to be here, to see these women standing up, for superfoods and acting in such a manner that they're prepared to start standing up. And part of it is education, which has been missing, and, I think Kate knows when she's showing pictures going, I've got 1,200 pieces of paper.
I know, I saw them all. I don't know how you got through it so quick, but well done. You must have had some of your Montauk Kanga water frozen.
Oh, yeah, that Kangen water is it's amazing. And, actually we're quite happy because the last week or two, actually, the city of Saskatoon, guys, all the water things are broken. And I said, broken? I said, don't you dare allow them back into this water. That's a command. And that, said we've got to get pre-filters actually into here right now because of things that had been with, let's say, fluoride and chloramine and stuff like that. And people that are in the rural areas that have radon or different things like that within the well water. But there's something we're going to have to do. There's no doubt about it. And actually, it's kind of like cleaning up the water. So if we have the toys for a while, and that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. So,
Karen, let me ask you. My wife wants to open an Alzheimer's specialty unit here in the Northwest, up where we're not too far from you all, I guess. And I'm a former emergency medical technician, advanced cardiac life support paramedic with a background in search and rescue specialty, and she's a caregiver 15 years with a specialty in Alzheimer's and dementia, of course. And she wants to do something similar to what you all are doing. It was originally going to be called just off the grid, with all organic food or whatever, and growing our own food out back for the people there, the senior citizens there, and not using any hairsprays or colognes or personal poisons off the shelf kind of stuff. She wants to really break the paradigm of this old long-term care thing. And she doesn't want to cram them full of drugs like she's doing now on the Hill. She's a supervisor pharmacological nurse up there now, and she's sick and tired of cramming these people full of drugs and 14, 15, 17, 22 pills a night, and she's going against everything she believes in. But we have to live, and it's her job now and her career. But could you all kind of help her when we start sitting down with the investors to open this beautiful place and give her some tips from your end of it and help her with some of your knowledge and wisdom in what you might think these seniors need in that facility that she's trying to put together?
Yeah, one of the things that we might add, we're doing everything by gifting into the communities. Obviously, we don't take cash, stuff like that along that line. So we're having to use what people have within their scopes right now. So I think that's paramount too. Second thing, it can't be done that way. You get into agreements with individuals, you never know what they have. Like all of a sudden I've got someone with tobacco and someone's got this and someone's got a store, and it just shows up. So I think that's one way, is to get our women especially into a position that they are educated to, that you're supporting our women so that they can do the land reclamation. So once the women learn this, it's going to be like Anastasia, that we can all co-create with you guys and start developing our motherland and our homeland security. We'll have our own Department of Homeland Security and freedoms, without in that. But having said that, with Alzheimer's, probably having been a medical practitioner myself for 25 years plus, is that knowing what it is Alzheimer's has dealt with, everything comes back to alkalinity. Everything comes back to doing this canned water. If you really want to do some research, or if people want to get a hold of it, they can go through Jana Lynn at Soul Salons here in Saskatoon. So they can go on Facebook or get a hold of me, and then it can forward stuff through. But Jana Lynn is looking after a lot of that stuff. There's a great thing that you can look on. It's called Living Hydration, www.livinghydration.com. And Creel Hutchinson is out of Vancouver, and he's dealing with our education on that end of it. This is an amazing stuff, is that once you're able to do this, that water can actually regenerate right up to the brain. So as it starts vortexing up, when you actually put the pH, it will turn purple. So it means it goes to the crown, but it will actually bring the light or the spectrum in because it works with monatomics. We energize it, and literally you're going to see virtually most diseases being neutralized, if not reversed, through just using water alone and Himalayan salt, the Soleil.
It's amazing, Karen, how it just amazes me, how we don't do more of this. I mean, there's no words to express why we do not take this more seriously. Why are more people not jumping on board?
Farmageddon. No, I know where you're coming from. I'm agreeing with you. The biggest problem we're going to run into every time is the Whore of Babylon, commerce. Farmageddon. There's no money in cures. Yeah. And that's why they don't want people cured. They want to.
Even those sweet little people we have out here in the community, though. Like we're doing our best to pass information along. Like Kate brings this, and you bring us, and Kate brings me on to meet folks. And there's so many little folks out there that aren't into the Whore of Babylon as much, but they're not getting the information. And I guess it just takes more of us, and more Karens, and more Katies, and more Tonys, and to just get out there and let them know that this is available, this is happening, and that, hey, it's here.
Yeah, one of the advantages having been, I can speak your lingo, so to speak. We speak a lot of programs here. We have a whole linguistics program and a spell checker, obviously. But that's part of it, is Alzheimer's and stuff. It all comes down to one, alkalinity. It comes to the bowel for absorption of nutrients, which is hence why we do the enemas and colonics. It's not for just removal. We're using essential oils in there, so we alkalize it. We go in through it like a dialysis membrane, and we're actually absorbing the nutrients that have been deficient in the peoples, even for generations. Each one of the bowel segments actually correlates to one of the organs, so there's a reflexology, no different than when I do iridology or anything like that, or Vitaflex, the original Tibetan stuff. But more importantly is we're getting essential oils, and so clove oil is the highest antioxidant on this planet with an ORAC of over 1 million. We use things like frankincense, myrrh, and those things that are high in sesquiterpenes that cross the blood-brain barrier. So we can actually put peppermint into your essential oils into the colonic water, and if you're cleaned out enough, and just around the ascending colon there above the ileocecal valve, those are portals, and you'll be able to taste it if you're cleaned out enough. So one drop of peppermint is like you taking 26 cups of peppermint tea. Aside from that, we know all the emotional releases. So besides anger, we have everything by frequency and code. So way beyond EFT, this takes Louise Hay stuff and emotional release to another level. So we can neutralize everything that has been put through the MRA for all the emotional release. Everything is passed down through the mitochondrial, even the DNA, and we have the ability to put it back to original state. So you can actually take in the emotional forms, everything. I've got Santos popping up going, thank you, and Dr. Tony Manero. I'm just like watching my thing light up, wow, it's great tonight. But the importance of doing this biofeedback is huge. Those people, it's NASA technology. It's no different than what we use in a hospital as an EEG, ECG. It's going to rather use these detectors because it will detect in the system. I know many people, and if Kate wants to jump in, people have had different testimonies. It doesn't matter where I do it universally. People can feel it radionically. And we do our procedures very, very different, but it's no different in monitoring the astronauts in space or anywhere universally. We can send those radionic signals anywhere, and we can neutralize it. So we have had people like Dr. Debbie Drake. We also have colleagues of mine. Dr. Bill Nelson was the one that developed the SKIO. And again, it's not the be-all and the end, but it's definitely some of the best stuff we have out there at this point. And not that there's not other technology that's really great or in some ways even better. But what happens is that we've also got people like Dr. Faith Nelson in places, let's say, like Johns Hopkins University, where the nurses are trained in oils, like in Young Living, and in Raindrop, what we do. And we've redeveloped all of that. So we've started making orgone generators and redeveloped that. I've just taken everything that we've done and kind of maybe added to it a little bit, developed new ways of doing that. So Alzheimer's, for example, is very easy. You can start putting things in like zeolite and things like that into the colonics or additives and things along that line and actually start neutralizing the vaccine program. And we've got to remember a lot of that, the more acidic the people are, those nanotechnologies, chemtrails are being released. And we're seeing weird things. Like it was everything but eye of newt coming out. So when we do biofeedback and we can run 9,000 tox screens and look at meridians and Kirlian photography within probably half an hour, we're able to assess things, or at least we are, the way we do my techniques. Is that we get a really good baseline, and literally we start neutralizing it. We can start alkalizing you with those machines. You can actually start dissembling virtually any disease within 6 to 8 sessions.
Karen, you say we, and you're talking about all of this equipment. Do you have a clinic, or did you have a clinic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, we ran something in Saskatoon. We also use collectively, just so you're aware of it, the Royal, we call it the Royal We. I, to me, is isolation or separation. And so we are that we are. If I'm going to refer to myself, we'll say myself. We is more of a collective as we co-create, if that makes sense. So for those people that may sound like it's sounding like this huge community, we is also when we're referring to myself. But yeah, there are several of us that do this, and we've instigated, and we did run a medical center in Saskatoon. And what we're really looking for is some assistance for people that could provide, let's say, sort of fifth wheels, that we could actually go mobile and put, let's say, like a biofeedback practitioner with the raw foods and doing the things like David Wolf has put together. Raw cacao is one of the best foods ever. You can get rid of the guys off Viagra. You can get, it's the best form of magnesium and calcium. It stimulates all the serotonin, everything.
I could get you all a fifth wheel donated. I have many contacts for fifth wheels and for RVs, and you should build. We built Occupy Carvallis, Occupy Northwest up here, big bus. There's a lot of people out there would be willing in my network to donate to you all to build a medical clinic, mobile clinic, whatever. You should do that, and I'd like to come up. I don't know how far you are. You'll have to talk to Mary after the show. I'd like to come up and do a documentary on you all.
Well, just so you guys know, you both have each other's Skype contacts now, and no excuse to not get a hold of each other. I did want to mention something with you were talking about the bioenergy. What do you call it when you're doing the readings?
It's called the SKIO biofeedback machine.
SKIO biofeedback, that was it. And you ran one on me, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago? I believe it was. I'm trying to remember now. Anyway, yeah, it might be about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And it's pretty cool.
Excellent. Yeah, no, the biofeedback is huge. If people want to look up SKIO biofeedback, there's different forms of radionics, but it has multiple generators in there, from scalar to Rife to radionics to orgone generators to called Clark zappers. But virtually everything's got a reading. And once we get the reading on you, let's say it's kind of like there's slices of pie and you've got a couple trillion cells. So think of it as kind of a CAT scan. You're going slice by slice, segment by segment. And so we can measure at a cellular level. So we actually can do intrinsic cellular looks at the blood system. So, in fact, we don't even have to use live blood cell analysis. But this is more accurate because we can actually almost scan it in like a MRI. But Dr. Paul Duran was very integral in the development of that. He was a medical doctor down east. He has this wonderful en français accent, so we have to speak to him, and je parle. Je parle français aussi. But what happens is that these were really excellent mentors of mine, and we've done a lot of different studies. So there are a lot of different SPO practitioners or EFPX, and you're able to go in, and it's like a detector. It's like you just find out what's there and how to get in and make the corrections or use the right sound. Your organs are really just like an orchestra. You tune them.
Karen, what about pay? What if I'm really excited about what you're doing? Matter of fact, I haven't been this excited in I don't know how long. I have not been this excited or this interested in anything in a long time. Kate will tell you.
I knew you'd like Karen.
Kate will tell you off air about my. Well, she'll tell you off air.
Yep.
But what about pay? You know, when people come. I mean, we have people we work with here. We work with the homeless. We work with the homeless over 60. We work with very sick people, hospice. We work with the abused seniors. We go rescue them. We have an undercover team here in the Northwest. I'm a specialist advocate for 35 years as an advocate. My wife, 15. We deal with a lot of sick people. What if someone came to you up there and just said, I'm so sick, and I'm, you know, or they brought their mother, and they said, you know, we just don't know. We've given up. We don't know what to do. And you guys thought, well, hey, let's take her in here and do some testing. Would you do that, or would insurance cover it, or would they pay best they can, or what? How does that work?
Well, myself, right, because we're outside the system, and we want to be. That's really encouraging people. That's what self-empowerment is, or getting off your third dimension, right? So that's what getting into the fourth dimension of love is about. So you've got to love yourself before you can do anything else to someone else. So I'm sure you guys all want to feel what real love is like, right? It's about time.
Yes.
So what happens is that, back to the question, yes, we would take anyone up here too. We can look at anyone long distance, you know, like medical intuitive or remote viewing, call it what you want. Our guys worked on the NASA space program. We have the same technology. So we can remote view in anywhere. Secondly, yes, bring them all up, wherever you want here. We've got friends that have things that say like bread and breakfast. And we have people that we have several colonic practitioners. Just to give you an idea of the scope, in the few years that we were up here, we managed to get like a dozen of, if you want to say, friends of mine, you know, clients back then at the time, get trained as colonic practitioners. We have 13 skill biofeedbacks we distributed one night. We used to be the largest distributor for Young Living and for a great thing called Conscious Planet, run by Charles and Wynn Holmes and Samantha. And so they're the largest community heritage heirloom hemp company there is. So we have a lot of friends.
I get the weirdest. I don't know. I get the weirdest vision. I get the weirdest vision of people picking up their sackcloths and coming to Karen.
Please.
No, you know, it's interesting. I get this vision of people, almost like the Exodus from east to west. You know, it's like people coming up there and just kind of bringing themselves to find love and to find security and to find someone who really is awake and who really does give a damn about humanity and who does care about healing and who really does have all of these empathetic qualities and compassion and balance. You know, we don't see that very much. I mean, Kate will tell you I've been nuts in my news business and what I do. I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to get more balanced and more what, Kate, sane? Is that? So, you know, I just appreciate what you're doing. You kind of giggled when I said the Exodus, people coming up with their sackcloths. Karen? Oh, Karen, don't tell me I lost y'all. No, I didn't. I lost them. I'm off. Dial me in, please. That was like the worst thing in the world. Can you dial me in, please? Can you find out what's wrong here? Where they might be able to hear me, but I can't hear them, and I'm kind of lost here. I'm sure Kate's trying to get me back in. Yeah, I'm here. I'm just trying to get back on air, folks. I'm sorry. We had a mishap. Kate and I are very used to this. I'm so sorry. I'll be back with you. I hope you and Kate can figure this out, Heather. Every time we get to a really good point in the show, it seems like we're hacked or something happens. Well, I'll actually be quiet because Kate may be actually talking and hearing me talk, and I can't hear them. Okay, I'm here, folks. Don't leave me. Kate's handling it well, I'm sure. I just need to get back on air here. Well, no, I'm fine. I don't think we lost them. I think. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to keep talking as if we're on the air. I'm impressed. I'm just overwhelmed with what I've heard tonight. I have never in my life heard anyone in the movement, let's say, that has impressed me like Karen has, and I'm so thankful that I was able to come on tonight and hear this. It's almost like it was meant to be. One of those kind of things. I didn't feel well tonight. I was even thinking about calling Kate earlier and telling her I couldn't be on the air. But I drug myself up out of bed, and here I am, and I just feel so much better hearing Karen's story about what they're doing there. It's unbelievable. And what are you doing? Am I on the air? I guess. I'm trying to find out. My producers are giving me all kinds of crazy notes here. I'm reading them, so y'all stand by. And also, Cygnus Trumpet there is, okay. Yeah, no problem. I just cannot believe what all's going on, that people around the country do not know what's going on, because many of you may not know or may know that I'm a talk show host. I've got four different shows, 4.5, and of course I do this one with Kate and Tony on Saturday evenings, and I'm very honored to be here, very happy to be here. We have our moments, and we have our ins and outs, and boy, it's just great. The show is just wonderful, you know. And I have DestinyRadioNetwork.com, DESTINIE RadioNetwork.com. And, of course, we talked about the seniors. We have UnitedCaregiversOfAmerica.org, where we rescue senior citizens who are in the long-term care system, who are being abused. We take reports that the police do not deal with or can't deal with. We take reports that the state cannot deal with because they're so backed up and backlogged with abuse cases. So we go out and do the best we can to find out what's going on and try to get these people help from the local community, or in extreme cases, we rescue them and bring them out of the facility, extricate them physically from the facility. And believe me, that's not an easy thing to do when it comes to legal ease and so forth. To be able to do something like that really requires a lot of guts, a lot of passion, a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and you know, it can get really sticky out there sometime. But yeah, I wish there was more of this going on. That's why I brought up the case of the mainstream media wanting to know, you know, who had picked up on this in the mainstream media. I think more people need to know about this, but at the same time, I don't think it needs to become a fad, or it doesn't need to become a circus. And in many cases, I think that's what it would be. That's why I'm so proud of Karen and her team for not really getting out there and banging down the media doors, because in many cases, media can do more damage than good. I've experienced this personally more than once when I was young and naive, thinking that, oh, I'm going to go out, I've got a good project here, and it's working wonderfully, I'm going to go talk to the reporters. Well, that's just about as bad as going out and talking to the police. It's not always good to talk to reporters. They can really take things and twist them and turn them, and you can end up doing more harm than good in many different situations. So be aware of that. And but gosh, you know, when Karen was telling me about the community, I just saw this wonderful community, almost like Little House on the Prairie, you know, where people were living in a town and everybody was doing their specialties, and it was almost like a Scarborough Fair kind of thing. I hope Karen's listening. was almost like a Scarborough Fair kind of thing, you know. Instead of people throwing the balancing sticks and doing face painting, you know, they're doing what Karen and her team are doing, which is something that needs to be done. I'm surely going to be a strong advocate from here on out. As of tonight, Karen, I don't know. I tell you, this show, I've had an awakening here tonight. It's been a blessing for me. Kyler Davenport has had a blessing tonight, and I'm surely going to sing it to the highest hill. I wish I could just go to the community and take my RV command center there with this other one that we're going to get. 22 foot, and just park and plug in, or put up the solar panels, you know, and live happily ever after, because I have some cancer, and you know, I'm sick with post-traumatic stress disorder and these things, and I'm sure I could be helped, and I could be I'm not going to use the word healed, and I was going to talk to Karen about that word healing also. As dangerous as that word is now for homeopathic medicine and natural medicine, you know, the feds wanting to come in and shut people down. We've got health food stores up here that are complaining. I've interviewed a couple of people up here, and they're complaining that the feds are coming in and just taking things off their shelf, you know, just walking in without permission, without any proper documentation, and just pulling items off the shelf and boxing them up, putting them in the trunk, driving away, and say, you're not able to order this anymore. You're not able to sell this anymore. And it was some of the best stuff in the store, you know, some of the most popular natural medicine in the store. And this is happening more and more and more, kind of like our farmers are being shut down, and Monsanto's moving in, and the seed thing going on. You know, now it's our health food stores. And I really thought that this would be worse a lot sooner, because I was hearing this 5 or 6 years ago that the feds were going to come in and start shutting health food stores down and start taking things off the shelf and that type of thing. And it has not happened up here. Now, we're in the Northwest now. It has not happened up here as much as I thought it would. But I'm afraid it's going to, you know, maybe start happening. I think the feds are focusing on other things now. So I think they're focusing on other things like the big Monsanto and the farms, and, you know, getting the seeds patented and so forth, and all of the genetically modified food out into the stores. I saw an interesting documentary video. I'm going to send it to Kate.
We're back, by the way, Kyler. So just letting you know, thank you for carrying on. We got bumped off Skype, so there you go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this private group went in and they documented. They took their cameras into Whole Foods, and they went in and were pretending that they were going to be worried about Monsanto and everything. And they asked everyone in the store, "You don't happen to have GMOs in here? This isn't GMOs in here, right?" And everybody in the store said, "Oh, no. We do not allow GMOs in here." Okay, we'll go to the next department. No, there is no GMO food in here. No. And then everybody, you know, just went on and on and on and on and on and on. And finally one guy said, "Well, you know, things slip through every once in a while. We're not sure, but we have a very strict investigative group in the back, and they go through all the boxes and they make sure, you know." She's like, yeah, whatever. So anyway, I lost my train of thought. I'm getting old. But the main thing is, I'm so happy, Karen, what you're doing. I don't know if you heard my testimony there or not, but.
Yeah, we caught part of that, and I just want to kind of add in, if I can, and just thank you for that. I think that's really important, that when you're addressing the different things, there's one of the things my girlfriend Rebecca's got, is affiliated with. It's called Dad's Nutrition here on 8th Street in Saskatoon, and we've been sending people in there and getting compost and teaching people how to compost. But we want to do even a YouTube on just how to go up and even navigate like a store, because it's really basics. We could actually get rid of virtually probably 90% of any of the health stores themselves, because they're dispensing isolated supplements which are useless. And
Yes.
David Wright Wolf is so correct too. We get the best food like the cacao. You get the best foods like goji. You get your antioxidant berries. You can use stuff like chaga. We have to get very smart here. We're in radiation fallout, and we're going to have to put into radiation protocols what we're doing. We're using a lot of essential oils because that's the only thing that will protect. There are different frequency ones Gary Young's done, like Sacred Mountain. And if you know that we're vibing with the water and everything else and we got our shields up, so to speak, it really doesn't matter like a Solarian, Breatharian. You're just part of everything. And that radiation will not have any effect. And with the biofeedbacks, we can pick that up and neutralize it anyway. So when you realize that level, it's not going to affect me at all. And in fact, right now at this point, we've been actually regenerating, and our gray hair was starting to reverse, and my vision was improving prior to coming back to Saskatoon, now that we have to deal with a little bit of the chemicalization here.
Yeah.
But, we're probably the best one ever, and one of the best to be able to come back into this environment. And it's just blown the people away because they haven't seen me a lot of it for, a year or 2 years, and
Karen,
seeing the transitions.
Tell me, Karen, your opinion on colloidal silver, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of that stuff, too, having played with colloidal silver and golds and all that, and doing some alchemy and stuff myself, we really don't need to be mining. And actually, probably one of the easiest ways to get actually monatomics is actually through Himalayan salt. So if you do some studies about Himalayan salts and the different trace minerals that it does, because it's been an ocean bed, and with the crystal, that was actually kind of divine alchemy. It picks up several ormus. So does actually goji berries, the right kinds there are, like Himalayan. So a lot of our guys bring things up and they're hand-checked by the border so that they're not irradiated. So when they're dehydrated, and my dehydration rule is about 105. So anything over 105, it's like burning a fever out of your food too. You can't assimilate it, and it's about restructuring things. So once you see what the radiation or boiling does to anything or cooking, it destroys the actual original template. So your system doesn't recognize it as food. So a baked potato may have 400 actually carcinogenic compounds by that point.
Oh, Lord.
So if you get some really good books, my recommendation is if you want to get some very good stuff, David Wolf's put some excellent stuff out called Sun Food Diet. Inner Beauty is phenomenal. Naked Chocolate. There's some good stuff in some of the superfoods. And again, we tend to be more vegan ourselves, thinking that we could do hemp oil instead of disturbing bees and things like that. But
right.
I'd say for the most part, he's like the best ever. He's done some stuff really diligently, and it'd be nice to see people losing their lawsuits against Monsanto and stuff like that, because you're just perpetuating a lot of the fear stuff. And we have to let go of these going after these people. The system itself, you're just concerned. It's like a mom. You put on your oxygen first, or if you're in that airplane, you're just dealing with yourself to get off the system. It's an individual monitoring, and once you have made that leap of faith and you're practicing universal laws, you will actually be connected or contacted, and you'll know that you'll have your freedom. And that's what it's about.
I've had my conversion tonight on Kate's show.
Cool. So
you have converted me, and let me tell you something. You don't know me. Kate knows me a little better.
That's a big deal, Karen. You did well.
I'm a tough old bird, I've been an investigative.
But Kyler, you're a loving, smart, young bird. I know you better than that.
Yeah, but I love you guys. I love y'all, and I mean, it's like you've converted me. I'm sitting here right now. I feel like I've been in a Pentecostal church or something. And
I heard your jaw hit the table a couple of times. Mine did too. It's all good. Truth has that effect.
This is all good. It's all good. I mean, I've come to the conclusion where I do not want to. Kate knows I'm never going to stop fighting the Syrian wars and the armies in Afghanistan and the drug lords and the Fed and I'm never going to stop being the fighter I am. That's just my gift. But I am going to change. I'm changing tonight. I'm going to start moving more toward healing and love and compassion and empathy and God, I hate to say that word, light, but I will. I'm tired. I'm getting older. I'm sick. PTSD
Kyler,
from hell, but I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we've all had enough, Kyler, and this is the paradigm we're moving into, and this is the solution-oriented approach, where we can look at all the problems all day long and they put enough of them out there that would keep you busy for
You're right.
1,000
You're
lifetimes.
Right,
So we just have to clear that canvas and start looking at, well, yeah, you want to play in that sandbox with all, where all the cats have been and done their business, that's fine. We're going to move over to this sandbox that's a whole lot cleaner, where the kids don't fight over Tonka trucks and Barbie dolls, and we all get along, and we work as a community, and we see how we all...
The other thing is, I feel so much more in field with this, and I can't solve these problems in the Middle East. I can't solve these problems with hunger all over the world. I can't feed all the children in Somalia. But if more of these shows get out like we do tonight, we will touch thousands and thousands, and they will touch thousands and thousands. I know it, because I've got 1.6 million in my audience now. And they're a very quiet bunch, but you know what? We're touching lives. I get 400 emails a week. That's not much, but I get 400 emails a week of people's testimonies that we touch when we do shows like this.
One of the things I just wanted to add in, and I just want to thank you for that, but part of the thing is I think we've got to look at, it really doesn't, it only matters what you're doing, and having said that is that we've got to say, if you can't feed yourself, you can't feed the community anyway, so until you're actually gardening yourself with those heritage heirloom seeds and you're sprouting, you can't feed the community anyway. And
right.
So it's the women that really are into place to do this, which we will share at some point, how to do the land reclamation and stuff too. And again, the people that will be coming onto these lands, it's going to be very, protected, right? You're not getting on there with your, Gatorade and all that kind of stuff. So we want really people to put on their oxygen masks, and I want people to assess what they've got in their own homes first. And that's been the mistake, is people want to be servants or in service to others. I really don't want to hear that anymore. I want to see that you are the example that you want to be in the world. And we've got everything all organic, and that people have got their seeds into place, and that they're actually practicing what they think others should be doing. So if you don't want to be part of the corporation, then people can cut up their cards. And it's not their cards to start with. You didn't create them. And so we can look at things within our own communities, and like you said, this woman, we could utilize some, RVs or something up here. It's been really difficult being on the road, and in some ways,
some up there. I can get
you
some up there.
Yeah, and this is the kind of things too. There's people like Gen X. There's people like Ian Koch Richards in Nanaimo that could utilize some help. He's actually developed a lot of these free magnetic machines. Way beyond wind and solar, but getting these even vehicles retrofitted and stuff into solar and into the Regen X type of thing, which is a specialized magnetic motor that could be replacing all the petroleum and stuff too, and having the release of all this technology that we have and utilizing it. I mean, we know that there's portals underneath. We know there are jump gates. We know all sorts of things that we can have access to and things like that, and will be released, at the appropriate times, and getting these homes back into the round, looking at things like Mandela homes and what we're doing, and getting things into a proper perspective again. So that's really what we want to do, is invite people to do their own examination and get themselves into a position where they are then able to help other people. Because right now I'm finding a lot of people, it's kind of like the walking wounded. So my extent or my gift is in healing, and actually we do have all the gifts, by the way, and the fruits of the Spirit too. Is that what we can do is assist you in doing some radionic work and doing a session, even radionically, long distance. So that would be something to make sure that you're healthy and that we can get you into a position. So, I just put it back to you. Do you know what your pH is? Do you know when was the last time you used litmus paper or had a biofeedback? Or when was the last time you did your series of colonics to make sure everything's scraped out of there?
Karen, I don't want to I don't want to be a nasty on the air tonight, but God, my doctor's never pulled my pants down. Kate and I have talked about it. I mean, my doctor has never even looked at my anticubital foci to see if I shoot up, and I don't. I've never done drugs or anything. But, these doctors up here, they'll bring you in and say, well, how you doing there, Kyler? You feeling pretty good today? Your blood pressure's 280 over 160, but, no big deal. You're just stressed out. And they've never asked me to undress. And I know that sounds weird, but if I was a doctor, I would want to look at my patient.
Yeah, generally a mechanic, when they look at the engine, they should probably open the hood.
Lift the hood, hey?
Yeah. No, and they
Well,
just don't have time here. They've got 15 minutes with you now up here.
Well, you're going to love how we do our physicals, right? We actually get you on a massage table, and we marinate you with about an ounce of all those frankincense, myrrh, and all those, like, the best oils ever in the world, and oregano, and there's something called a rain-up technique that we custom did, plus we do our own oils, is that we can go into any organ, any frequency, and actually go out and clean it. And actually, if you actually did probably a series of 6 to 7 colonics and started doing home enemas with Himalayan salts, you would actually get rid of all your blood pressure issues. If you started, again, and having said, I don't know if you're all organic, but I mean, back to it, if you're not eating heritage heirloom, you're going to have things stuck within the tissues. The issues are in the tissues. Yeah. And quite frankly, having been 40 years old, plus, young, actually, not old. Let me just correct that. But we'll just say on someone's Gregorian calendar, let's just say that until probably 4, 5, 6 months ago when we were out with Rishak Light One out in Nelson with that Kangen machine, we haven't had proper water. So to have gone my whole life without knowing what alkalized water was, and I mean, in the clinic, we were still alkalizing the water, and I was putting baking soda, and I had monatomics, and I had the best stuff ever, but we still weren't using these in the way that we could have been. And all of a sudden, my vision is improving. I'm like, wow, this is pretty incredible, and your dental stuff is starting to clear up, but things are coming up that we haven't dealt with. And so we're seeing a lot of skin conditions. You're going to see rashes. You're going to see what's going to look like they call the epidemic and the Revelations and prophecy rock stuff. And that's really the issues to be dealt with. This is not a bad thing. The tumors are not a bad thing. You can get rid of it with from borax to baking soda to that's what you're doing is you're alkalizing one thing. But seriously, we've got to do these enemas, and these colonic machines are probably the most important thing right now. And
colonics. I've heard a lot of wonderful things about colonics.
Oh yeah.
What is your take on detoxifying a person? It can be dangerous, can't it, to just detoxify quickly? Don't you have to kind of do it over a period of time if somebody's all, I don't drink anymore. I don't do anything much anymore. But isn't it a little dangerous to bring some real toxic person in and try to just detoxify them all of a sudden?
No, absolutely not. I think that's a mistake. People start thinking that you've got to take some time or special things, or it has to be done in a certain order. And actually, if you're doing enemas and colonics, you're removing the toxins as they're being released out of the tissues. So, for example, you've got people on medications, and having been there and done that myself, there isn't too much that we haven't occurred with. Or, as a nurse, you can imagine how many chemicals we absorbed over 15 years. And things peel off. Yeah, things peel off in layers, and really, it's not about killing things or parasites. That's really a fear-based old model that just doesn't wash anymore. And literally, we are the universe. Everything that's been created, whether it's man-made, creator, or whatever, is just it's a formulation. It's like cake. So we have every recipe. Everything's known to us anyway. So basically, if you've got something there, we can neutralize mercury with 3-4 essential oils. You can do it with zeolite. And as long as you're removing the toxins, there's no healing crisis per se. People are starving. So the first little while, we're actually super feeding them. It's like you haven't had gas, or we didn't have water. We didn't know what that was like for all my life, Now what we're doing is we're replacing all those nutrients that we were missing. So like a computer, it's not junk DNA. We just had 94 windows turned off. And that's simply because, one, the water was not getting to the organs properly. We weren't hydrated. Virtually every disease comes down to dehydration. And if you know that you have to have enzymes to get anything, there's no point doing supplementation when you can do it through whole foods.
If I came up there, I would light your machine up red. I've worked hazmat, as a paramedic. Worked hazmat for years without protection before we even knew how to go onto a scene, a dangerous scene. So, and then plus the ACLS ambulance spilling cardiac drugs all over us and epinephrine, and I'm probably just redlining.
And having said that, it's so funny. Just to share, my sister and her other half, Marty, are still working for MD Ambulance here, and my sister worked for BC Hydro at the time, putting in the smart meters. So, and they're part of the vaccine program. So, having relatives that still cannot seem to see the light yet, it's quite an interesting challenge. But having said that, is that we know where you're coming off of, and some of our best girls right now was a paramedic, that went into oils and reflexology, and we all have our learning. the faster we move this, the faster we can assist to go into places, let's say like the University of Saskatchewan. And as a clanman, we have the ability to take these places back over and put them back into a healing arts centers. And using, they started up, get this, free university in Saskatoon.
Wow.
So, we actually, on Thursday nights now, there's free universities up here.
That's wonderful.
Self-designed schools being done out of Nelson and things like that can be coordinated. And going back and forth, why we're really excited about going to the Body Soul Expo coming up next week.
A tiny bit of fear porn here. My friends are being shut down in Canada. I've got one friend in Canada who I don't want to mention his name. They picked him up. He made a couple of statements about healing and cancer and cannabis, and he's been going through some hell for many, many months now.
Yep.
And I'm sure you know of another name I'm not going to mention who was a famous case who is still being chased by the feds. So, what are you at all concerned about the feds coming in and just trying to throw a monkey wrench in everything? These guys are just insane. They're not intelligence. My brother was an intelligence top cop, but there's nothing intelligent about these people.
Actually,
we do.
There is. Seriously, and just to let you know, we're a monkey. We made up the wrenches. So if we can share that with you, it's kind of funny, but we know our signatures and tones too. But anyway, having said that, is that I always think of like the CIA as my central intelligence agency, and Department of Homeland Security. They're into place to actually assist us. So the people is really, consider this a gift. It's not targeted individuals. You're being like told in a way to what is it going to take for people to come off the system and to quit being babysat. So let's look at in some sort of a, what can we do to make this benevolent for everyone? And having said that, we have no problem with the system going down monetarily, and if people have to go back into their little prospective gardens, or we got to do a relocation and get these places cleaned up, then that's what we'll do.
Wonderful.
And and that's the way it's got to go, because just like Mom, we've given people a lot of gifts, and they've destroyed a lot of the land and the gifts, and we can't have that anymore. This is Project Cleanup, and this Mom wants it cleaned up. So if we've got to relocate people and start showing people how to garden in community gardens again, like Anastasia. If you haven't seen that series, we suggest everyone get on to the Ringing Cedars of Russia and start doing the reading. You can start at the back from what's called The Rights of Love by Victor Mager. And these people have it. They got it to the point where they could turn a prison into the paradise, and you would put the seeds in your mouth for 9 minutes, and you'd program what you require to grow. There is so...
wow, I love it.
With the bears, with the community, we've had the ability to do that, to go onto the land. We can feel the heartbeat of the land. So call it your Schulman residency, call it whatever you want. But when we sit on my land, we can feel the heartbeat all the way. We are
One question that I'm running simulcast here. I don't want to try to explain the complexity of that, but I've got questions coming in here on another computer.
Yeah, go right ahead.
What do you think about conventional medicine, and how far would you go? The person says here, how far would you go to not do any conventional medicine at all, and what would be the step that you would take to go to a real hospital and send someone? Where would be the dividing line there? You're not like a cult. They're asking if you're not like one of these church cults that just refuses mainstream medical.
Oh, no. I know the psyche you're going at there, Tyler. No. That is a cult thinking. No harm to the question, but no. When I just want to jump on this one a little bit. When we're dealing with what we're talking about tonight, we're dealing with energy. This is at such a level of understanding that goes so far beyond the meat stick.
Yes.
This is what Karen's talking about. This is the forgotten knowledge.
My person in Alabama is very interested in this, and she's an RN. And she's like, well, if we have a cardiac arrest and we're looking at VFib, we're still going to defibrillate 400 watt seconds, and we're still going to get an IV going, and we're still going to intubate.
Okay, well, if we could just address that, like if you actually knew, again, this is like, how would I put it? People are doing things in that medical system, we'll just say, it's like a program with the limited amount of intelligence they've been given, or that set of books or programs, okay? And that we know about integrative medicine. That's what we do. It's about balance. But having said that, too, it's also law of attraction, and that there are other ways to deal with it. So just for an example, we've actually been in a situation where we'll just say we were in that room, and we turned our little medical room when we had a triple fracture. We couldn't move for 2 months. And so everyone came to me, and we put it back together allopathically with just oils, and we actually put it together with matrix energetics without any surgery, pinnings, and according to them, there was gangrene, DVTs, and all sorts of things. And we're a walking miracle right now on that, and that's what they refer to it as in the Kootenays. They call it the Karen phenomena, by the way. So having said that, you can actually dissolve if you look at things like, and we encourage you to look at people like Greg Braden, and you just go right onto YouTube and you see how these tumors are dissolved just by people praying through thought or through what Bruce Lipton is doing. Same sort of things along that line. You can actually watch people simultaneously while we're doing our matrix energetics and actually watch the tumors disappear in 3 minutes, or like Adam the Dream Healer. So I encourage people to go to Matrix Energetics, look at what we can do with Richard Bartlett. It's an amazing procedure. Having said that, I had a girl actually while I was in that room, right, unable to move, between me and the commode, and my roommate came in at the time, and lips turning blue and call an ambulance, oh my gosh, da-da-da-da-da. And having said that, what we did is we put her onto the amethyst bed. We alkalized her because we know how to do that. We also know how to use all the essential oils instead of drugs. You can use any enema, which is better than an IV. And quite frankly, you don't even have to do CPR on someone. When you know to reflex all the points on the ring finger and just below the brachial, is that you can actually go into a pumping rhythm and actually do that instead of pounding someone's chest. Having said that, I can put essential oils on someone and put actually just a little bit of a salt crystal there and have them regenerated in like literally minutes. And so this is much more effective. So like I said, she's used to a certain scope of things, and having been a neonatal nurse for a long time, again, you're registered to deliver drugs. You are a legalized drug pusher.
Oh,
and
cool.
you work for Monsanto, and you're being paid by the mafia. Not that there is any money, but you're buying into a negative thing because you don't have the experience that we do. And having been on both sides of the fence, call it integrative, we have a lot more things that are way more, have been here for millions of years, and truth is truth. And so there's no side effects to this. And having said that, yes, there are a lot of people that are on certain medications that you're not going to have them pull off their medications immediately. Antidepressants are one, but there are different ways. If you look at Dr. Ann Blake Tracy, who happens to be a friend of mine, and you know what happened in Columbine and all those things, that's due to psychotropics and the antipsychotics and stuff like that. These people are delivering. They are not in truth and in their oath. A nurse or a doctor, like the Hippocratic oath, is to do no harm. Well, that's the first thing they've done. And if you're harming someone else, you don't love yourself. So I think people have to go back and say, what are they practicing themselves before you start doing that?
I guess you know what I'm thinking right now. All of the damage I've done for little ladies and little men doing cardiac, and intubating and breaking teeth and breaking ribs and CPR. A lot of my trauma comes from that. A lot of my PTSD. I wish we would have known this back when we were doing all that damage to people.
Yeah, and if you look at stuff too, something very simple is like we know from no taxes, but we call it legalese versus law. There's also medicalese versus medicine. And if you look at what essential oils are, they're thousands of times more powerful than any drug will ever be. And if you look at the root of the word, pharmacan is actually sorcery. So put it through the food. Are these people actually eating organically themselves? Most people are so drugged. The reason they're in the nursing field is because that's part of their learning field, but they're not actually assisting people. So we do have people, it's like the blind leading the blind or the dead bury the dead, and we have to look after the living. We have a way to be able to broach to communicate to people, and there are ways we can do it, but we have to be that example ourselves. So having looked after a lot of people that are on medications, for example, let's say if they're on insulin, and you've got to remember this is very cool stuff, like even with Ramp the School and all sorts of people, and Mihail Ledwith, they're down the rabbit hole, all those people are friends of mine, and those things, is you can take someone that believes that they're actually a diabetic and then take them into another altered state, and their blood work's totally normal. So you've got
Wow.
to power the mind just alone like that. And I mean, that's been proven and proven and proven many times. That's no different than when we firewalk. You know, people are cooking their food because they were trained to cook their food. Mom showed them how to use a microwave. And they don't know how to even read a label to say that, you know, any sticker on your food that starts with a 9 is organic, and anything else other than that, the seeds are contaminated. Let alone, we know that what we really want is an heritage heirloom seed. People don't even know what normal is anymore.
No, they don't. They don't.
No.
And Karen, Kate and I were talking one night, and Tony, about, I brought up the fact of how addicted America is and how hard it is to get people, you know, back on the right road. They don't even really know what the right road is. Some folks, young kids, they don't even know that there is an alternative. Many people don't even know that there's an alternative way.
Yeah, the children and the gifted children and the indigo children and the crystals, which we're looking after too. You got to remember, these children are actually way more advanced than actually the adults are, because they're being, through the media, actually trained. So Avatar is actually a law briefing about the clan moms, by the way. So Sigourney Weaver is referred to as the mom, you know. And there's the tree of life. Everything's in there. Once you know this, there is a way. And actually, the people have just been looking for this in that ray of hope. They've just been looking for someone to actually step up and do it. And we are doing it. And, you know, having said that, let's say if people are on medications, yes, we're going to be looking at this 30-bed state-of-the-art facility that's north of here that's never been used. And our intent is to get these into an eco-village instead of these bands or reserves and start educating people and, you know, seeing what we can do that way. But having said that, and know the medication route, is it all starts with alkalization. It starts with water. And we've got to fix that first. So the most important is the water, because it's like the earth.
I got another question here. This is out of Kentucky.
Yep.
What about the controversy behind distilled water? They're hearing that it's poison, that it's dangerous in this, that it takes away minerals, it sucks the bone minerals away. Is any of that true, or do you know?
Yeah, actually, we do know. Isn't that great? I can come to this place and say, you know what? We do know.
Yes.
It's not a belief. Who cares about beliefs? Yeah, actually, we do know.
Yes.
What I'm going to do is encourage people to do their own research or home stuff like we did. And one of the best dissertations actually on YouTube is a thing from David Wolf. It's called, just put in spring waters, and you can go to find a spring but spring waters and Rocky Mountains, and you'll hear some of the best dissertations about water. And you'll learn about that. Also go to Kangen, Agnatic water, and just put in microclustering, put in ORP, because you have to know what a charge is supposed to be. I mean, how many people know what the charge is supposed to be on water? What's the correct oxygen?
They don't.
Exactly. What's the correct pH? They don't even know what their pH is, let alone what your blood has got to be, and you'd know it's 7.36.
3.6. I was going to jump in there and say, I know that one. Yay. No.
Yeah.
But having said that, and I'm just going to, let me just take and blow your paradigm a little bit. So take that pH chart, flip it around, look at it from a chakra point of view, and really 7.36 is your belief system, because you were told that in the medical belief system. Okay?
Right.
So if we really want the water to get up to our crown, what color would it have to be?
Purple.
What spectrum? Thank you. So you start looking at things like that, and the foods are all color-coded, so are the essential oils on the planet, to the frequency, or they call it the doctor of signatures. And we don't need to be the doctors. What you have to do is learn how to be your own educator, which is what doctor means in Latin. And that you have to be, we don't hold health cards. Why would I want a health card? Because we look for our own health. We are our own doctor.
And plus, when you get mixed up in a
registered
system, when you get mixed up in a contract system, Heather and I were talking about this. You're bound to their laws, and you're bound to rule of law, and now you're bound to administrative law, and you're bound to medico-legal law. You know, that's the battle my wife's fighting up on the hill. Is every time she brings something up to the DON, who is very much in agreement with my wife, they're bound by these stupid laws. They can't do anything because of the doctors. You know, they're closing
guys,
it.
I have one question. This has come up before, and I now that I've got Karen here to answer it. This for me is a very critical question, and it does relate back to water, of course. You know, because there's some people talking about distilled and what it's doing and cleaning the stuff out and what have you. But here I'll read the actual question. This is from Josh. Thank you, Josh, for more than just the question. You know what I'm talking about. This is very important. I'd like to see some information pertaining to the Kangen water. I've heard testimonial that Kangen water causes your lips to tingle. Everything I've read about lips tingling says it's a bad thing. Andrew Norton Weber, hang on, it's almost done. Andrew Norton Weber says Kangen water is dangerous, but Karen is saying it's good.
Okay, we'll love to address that one again. That's the second time in 2 weeks. But
I know.
Actually, a lot of people, if you know about vibration, a lot of people, and we're energy beings, just like you would know, like an EEG or flatlining. So when you're starting to get energy, or we're doing whether you call it energy or you're playing with different essential oils or frequency, you're going to get a change in the system, and so that tingling is not necessarily a bad thing. We've had some people that's happened to, and they're going, "Oh my gosh, it's reactivating different parts that have been dormant or laid off." And I'm not saying that there's not a lot of really good other stuff out there, but the reason we did look at the Kangen myself is that it makes medical water. And from a medical point of view, there's like 6,000 doctors, plus it makes medical water. So I'm not just talking, there's a lot of people that have great ionization and great pH, and anyone can do that. What we're looking for is a medical water that's 2.5 and 11.5. We are in a time where we have chemical trails and we have pollution, and so we can actually soak our waters, our vegetables off in the 11.5 and literally pull off the petroleum or the chemtrails and soak them off in 15 minutes. Having said that, you're not going to leave things in there longer, because what's going to happen is you're going to start extracting all the nutrients. So it's very cool to put like a tea bag in and actually watch your nutrients come out. That's when you start learning about not boiling things and that things have a flash point, just like you don't burn essential oils like most people do. It's about learning things have to be in a raw state. And raw, you flip that word, what's the opposite? War. So you're learning you either can have it in a raw, creative, energetic state, or you can create war and chaos with the same substance. And it's about knowing where your balance is. And so the different things, when we use essential oils, people can use it. I can put my hands on someone and they can feel their lips tingling. I can put my hands on your feet and they'll feel their ears moving, their everything vibrating. So it's about energy and vibration. And so some people don't always interpret that properly. And there are some people that we've got to go very slow with, because, for example, a pH, a clean water, what it does is it's got a clean water. So a lot of people, too, if you've got other systems, clean water is great, but the pH we start very slow is at 7. Because let's say you've got someone on cardiac medication or something, or they're taking something every 12 hours. Well, because this machine can microcluster and make the water smaller, which is what we want. We want it nano-sized to get into your cells, because you can drink water and pee it out or only absorb a certain percentage, but you don't want your medication going in within an hour when you're used to it going in every 12, because your guts are so plaqued up that you can't absorb it. And so this is hence where the colonics and the enemas come in.
They don't take
and do 3, 4 enemas and get a few things out, but then bang on your 5th colonic, it's going to look like crap coming out because you've just opened up a portal or a dormant, plugged up parasite nest or infection nest, and you'll have all this candida release that's been trapped into that one organ. So it's kind of like tracing the fire.
And one more quick question here. Rob is asking how much baking soda to a gallon of water.
Okay, that's actually a really good question. You can do some different things, and I use when we do use it, very, very little, or even borax. To a gallon, you might even just want to put enough. You can put it in and put your reagent drops in if you want, just to see what color's turning. Everyone's waters are slightly different, so there's no pat answer to that. It depends. I don't know if they're from city water, what they're doing, and the key is really to get the fluoride out, because that's the thing. If we don't have pre-filters, you also don't want your fluoride going in with these machines faster either, which is why I've been so excited here, is that Saskatoon City and these guys, whoever's behind it, and Don Atchison, they better make sure that the water fluoride machines do not get turned on, because that's going to be another act of war and treason we'll have to deal with. But that's the same thing, too, is you've got to know the smarts of what's going on, and there are pre-filters that have to go into different areas before even they go into Kangen machines or any other kind of systems. And so there's a lot of things like people have been using, but we literally are just ramping it up to the next level. And I'm going to have some discussions, with different people, let's say like David Wolf, because I know he prefers to use spring water, but he also uses different vortex machines, or Victor Schellenberger and stuff like that. And there's a lot of different things. I've got other friends that are using other applications as well. And the thing is, let's get something that works really well and just share all our information. And if this is something that's available, like I said, there's so many different machines. A Kangen's not a Kangen. A Kangen machine's got like so many models. They might have a 3-plate system with titanium. They might have a 5-plate system with titanium and platinum. There might be a 7-plate, or there might be a 12-plate. So there's so many different types of even Kangen machines. And so I don't even want to just say that it's straight Kangen, because people have to see what's best for them, or what kind of system, if this is even something that's resonating with them right now. But to me, this is one of the ones that we want to get, is we want to get some of the best ones. We're going into some interesting times here. And quite frankly, we want the best, right?
That's nothing but the best, and I've said that my whole life. Anytime I've done anything, it's always been the best gear, and especially if your life depends on it. And I was talking about that the other night with scuba gear, you know. Same thing applies, you know.
We've jumped out of a plane too. Yeah, you got to have that stuff into place and the safety measures on and everything checked on that. And I think that's really, really huge. So we've done training, let's say, with a little bit of Gary Young, but I've also got some of the best blenders ever, like Tony Nevis is with Mountain Springs just outside of Banff there. And he's at A7 Montana at Hotmail, but you know, he gets a lot of stuff around the world for me. You know, like raw cacao oil or stuff like that. We're working on getting, let's say, people that have got addictions is using stuff, let's say, like tobacco essential oil. You know, there are ways that we can do things to, if you want to say, wean people off their medications and drugs, and how to do it. Shaving the pills off every day. Using these different methodologies are really important. Using biofeedback, like we like to see people 3-4 times a week, you know, when we first get started with them, to hold the frequency, because those machines run magnetic currencies into you that, you know, build up your immune system really quickly.
Karen, having a question coming in out of Australia here. Would you make fun of anyone who speaks in tongues and believes in healing in tongues, even though they're not a quote-unquote Christian?
Isn't that great? We all have tongues.
Well, yeah, and again...
And I think that's great. Why would we, you know, everyone's got gifts, so
that's
one of the gifts, too.
I sing in tongues. And
it's vibrational.
And you know what? We'd like to, I was to say, make fun. I said, we'd like to have fun with these people. Like, come on.
Show up. Come on. I mean, it's... No, you know, from a musician standpoint, when someone speaks...
Frequency.
It's all frequency, and this universe is all about sine wave. It's
exactly
waveform, and Karen's right. And I've met many people that have abilities, and of course they're not something you would see on the corner, you know, store or, you know, clinic or whatever. But
when I started singing in tongues, the Pentecostal preacher threw me out of the church. He said, "We do not sing in tongues. No one does. We pray in tongues." And I said, "Well, listen to this. And he's like,
"Can we hear you?
Would
you sing for me? Would you sing?"
Oh, I'll send you my CD with I did a tongue CD for my mother. I speak in tongues.
We'd be honored. Yeah, we'd be honored. We'd love to do that. Yeah. That's a blessing to me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, see, that's a gift to me. And see, the thing too is that everyone's got their own different frequency, and it's about sharing those things. And a lot of people don't realize that, you know, people see interdimensionally, so we might see energies or auras. And actually, if people aren't seeing and hearing and doing all those sort of things, actually what you're doing is just remembering some of your original vibrations, you know, from these different things in star nations. And so just like the planets have their own sounds and songs.
Yes,
that's
they do.
Song
they
creation.
do.
Very cool. When we were out at the Sinaiacs, or dealing with some of the original traditional things, or go to the tribal things, you'll hear the people that you think to be these red tribes, like pounding on drums, you know, dancing around, being funny. Well, they're actually some of the original tribes of Israel and some of the different missing tribes. And so when you hear them singing, hey-ya, hey-ya, ho, hey-ya, hey-ya, ho, Yahweh, hey-yo, Manitou Mikwa. We have the song of creation as well. We have the gift of that song. And so Yahweh is the same thing as somebody might say Yahweh. Yahweh, Yahweh. Chakra, we might say rays, dimensions, realms, different things. So,
well, it's in the heavens, of course. It has to be. I mean, they're speaking of the as above, so below. I mean,
exactly.
You heard Santo did a beautiful many times talking about Yahweh or Jehovah in the heavens. It's in the stars.
Exactly.
It's spelled out in the stars. That's where they talk about where's my God? Well, it's there as above.
Yeah, and one of the things too is learning like some of the original things. This is why if people want to get into what we're doing and seeing where we pulled some of this information from and where we studied a lot. And we're not saying it's the be-all and the end-all, and you got to take everything with a grain of salt and do your own thing and see what resonates with you at the time and where it plants the seed. But it's leading us in a different thing. But it's Meredith Quinn Tribal Laws, and again, Meredith Quinn Tribal Laws. You want to learn about the law of the flags, Aboriginal lands, Canada, and no one's an Aboriginal. Like even the Old English, the word was creator. It was or women of creation or co-creation. It was not God. God or goddess means let chaos take its course. So these were translations put in by the Vatican and different councils back to 451. So we have some of the original treaties are actually on the obelisk in the Cam language, which we have, by the way. So we can do some hieroglyphics 101. So it's not just an Egyptian thing or like Michael Tellinger and back to Stonehenge and the original Anglo angel language. We have some of that. We've been really blessed. Even my cousin is Sean Buckley. And for those of the people that are up here, most people know Sean Buckley with the Natural Health Protection Association. So we're not here against anyone. We're here for everyone. And that's when you said, you made that kind of really interesting statement earlier. We're peacekeepers. We're not here to fight. There's not anything to fight. And everything's inside. And once you clean out, it's old information stuck in your system. So if you get rid of one thing that you're holding on to you that no longer is serving you or utilizing you, then that's defragging your system inside. And people have no idea that a piece of poop in you could be physical, mental, emotional. It could be a breakup. It could be something ancestral. And you're made up of all this stuff. So you can actually have ancestral cleansing. And every 3 colonics or 4 colonics cleans a chakra or a dimension or an organ.
You know what, Karen, speaking of poop, when I worked at forensics and I did autopsies, I was an assistant in the autopsy room. We used to pull 27, 35 pounds of poop out of people that was as hard as concrete, and they had died of all kinds of chronic diseases. And I used to think, what in the heck is going on here?
That's not it.
The ME would just blow it off. He'd be like, oh, well, we all got to poop, and it gets clogged up in there, and
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm going to jump in here for a second. We got about 5 minutes left, so I'm just going to quickly do the thank yous. Critical Mass Radio, to Paul, Lisa, and the crew. Thank you so much for the platform where we can share this most powerful information. Excuse me. And boy, does 2 hours ever go fast when it's coming fast and furious. And it's one of the joys of having you on, Karen, is you've got so much information that you want to get out, and you get it out in rapid fashion, and it's beautiful. And I'm glad to have so much interaction from people. If people do want to ask questions during shows, an easy way to get me is on Facebook, kate.renee.5. And a few people have asked how to get a hold of you, and they can get you on Skype at called Karen Mack. Just do a Skype search for that, or go to Facebook, Karen Ann McDonald. Correct. And she's already hit her limit of friends, but you can definitely message and follow the posts as they come in. So I would actually suggest, Karen, that you open up Karen Ann McDonald 2, just so that you have another 5,000 people that can show up and friend you and whatnot. So
get this. So if we're going to go to community page, it's unlimited.
There you go. So.
The community.
Right on. And I can't thank you enough. I'll say my little bit here, but I can't thank you enough, and it's always a treat talking with you on and off air. It's always a lot more fun off air, but you know what I mean.
You guys make me want to cry. Seriously, we're gonna start crying because the joy you men have brought to us and to our children. We know that you've got the circle right around us. And it's such an honor to be with men like yourselves and the women and the brothers and the sisters. You have no idea what this means to us.
Oh, yeah, I do.
I'm going to thank you.
I know. I know what it means, and this is what I've been dreaming of for a lifetime, finally seeing the balance.
I just want to say thank you, Kate, and thank you, Karen.
You're welcome. Much as we say. Or Baba would say, Дай Боже.
Дай Боже.
Beautiful.
and Karen, you'll be a regular, because there's always stuff coming out fast and furious, and the door is always open here, and we make things work for things that are working, and for people that are making those things work, because this is one of the reasons why I'm so adamant against anyone pushing fear porn of any kind, because that's old. That's the poop, guys. Right? Time to flesh that out. Give yourself a mental colonic and start turning off the fear porn people. If they're dealing in drama and illusions, they're just filling your head with poop, and it's going to turn into concrete, and Kyler might have to go back into giving brain autopsies and pulling out 35 pounds of that crap. So let's get on the focus here. And let's be solution-driven. It's time for us to be in that headspace and get rid of the garbage. Fair?
Oh, this is so awesome. I'm just sitting here just starting to cry because also I'm just like looking at Skype, and I've got Santos here, and there's you, and there's Dr. Tony Naviro and Louie B, and all of a sudden they're all just going, oh my gosh, this is just the best. And then I've got David Farnham at the Alchemy. It's like all these things. Everyone's doing their shows, and they're still listening.
Well, I got to tell you, one of the blessings of doing what I do is I get an opportunity to get right in the middle of guests and listeners, and to be able to be part of a platform. Ask me 5 years ago if I'd be doing this right now, and I'd call you crazy, to be honest with you. No, seriously. I mean, stage was my thing. I guess I got conditioned to do this, but I got to tell you, it's an honor and a blessing to be able to do this, and this is one of the reasons why I give it everything to my last breath until we get this white canvas cleaned again and get this planet back to where it's supposed to be. Breathing, beautiful, wonderful, no wars. I think we can do that, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be a beautiful, the best times ever. And seriously, even look at these things like the Visions of Paradise and stuff, just even getting those ideas out there. And I'd really encourage people to look at some of David Wolf's stuff, too. We've got some really dynamite men coming up here, and anyone that's coming up to Calgary, we're going to be in there. There's a show coming out called Future Shift based on some of our stuff.
Well, I tell you what, Karen, we've got an open forum tomorrow night, so feel free to pop in. We're going to be talking about legal and just general stuff for people, entry-level stuff. So big thank you to you. Kyler, thank you. And a big thank you to all the listeners. We've got about 5 seconds before we go off. We'll roll into the recording, guys, so whatever we say after this will be on the archive. Guys, we just went into recording. Thank you so much. Just great questions, Kyler. And Karen, thank you. And here's the magic. This is where I get to revel in knowing that there's more connections made, and let's see what seeds come out of this and what beautiful orchards you guys can plant.
Oh, this is going to be so great. Just wait till we get these, mobile things. Yeah.
Karen, could I ask you to please, I guess Kate could advise me on this, but send me everything you possibly can, or Kate can help on my page. I'm going to dedicate a page in my network to you all, and I'm going to keep it up, and I'm going to dedicate it to you all. And I just thank you so much. My God, you've changed my life a little bit here tonight, and that's, I don't.
Karen, that's a big deal. You have no idea what Kyler's saying.
We're going to be playing this weekend. We've got 5 days. We're going to Prince Albert, one up to Muskeg. The next 24 hours, they're picking me up in about an hour and a half on the road. But after that, we're going to rock here. So it'll be some fun. You'll feel the vibes directly when we get there to you.
Right on.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
Well, listen, guys.
Hey, how far is that, Kate, from Oregon?
From Oregon to you're in Saskatoon. That's a bit of a hike, but you're closer than me.
Yeah, Seattle and Portland, and those guys in there into Nelson is a few hours. We're right in between kind of Winnipeg and Calgary.
Okay,
so
we're an hour.
7 hours.
We're an hour.
Yes.
We're an hour out of Portland.
Yeah, so it's not that far. So I think it's 4 or 5 hours to Nelson, and then in that area for the Siniac. So you're not far. We're 4 hours out of Kelowna. Yeah, 4 hours out of Kelowna, that area Penticton, and then Saskatoon obviously is another 7 hours on the other side of in there. But we're going to play the hot spring come May.
We're taking our live spring broadcast trip, and we'll stop up and do an interview. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I just
it's not far.
Just to give you an idea, I'm 20 hours to Winnipeg.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll have to fly up and see you, Kate.
We're 21 to Vancouver, but yeah.
Yeah, you're right dead center, almost pretty much. So.
Yeah.
But I don't fly, so I'll have to get an umbrella and fly like
No,
Mary Poppins.
just bring a convoy of RVs and a whole party group.
Exactly. We're going to have some. Oh, we got hemp drums up here too, by the way. So
nice.
We're singing. We'll do a little dancing, and we got the raw cacao shakes down pat, and we'll have some really good times up here.
Yeah, and now I was going to say, are you going to be around tomorrow?
Yeah, actually, I'll be probably in Prince Albert, I think, is what we'll be. So we should have access to internet up there.
All right. Well, I'll tag you and have a quick chat. I got a couple of ideas I'd like to run past you. So.
Yeah. We can start playing with other things too, like how to do oils or put them in capsules or what people can start doing things. I mean, we could keep going and having fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you both have each other's Skype contacts. And I've had a bunch of people that were asking, so I gave the information out to get a hold of you, Karen. And Kyler's your new best friend. He'll get lots of promo out for a lot of different people, so we can start getting an influx of the right energies. Where attention goes, energy flows. So let's get it going.
Exactly. Yeah. And like I said, anyone that's in the Calgary area, there's people like Chandler Armstrong there helping. And I just see John Francis is online, too. There's a bunch of people that want to come, but we'll be doing Saskatoon, Regina. There's places in Nanaimo, Vancouver, all sorts of places, Calgary, Edmonton. So we'll be doing a few things that way in the next few months.
All right. Well, listen, guys, we'll sign off here. We'll sign off here for the show tonight. And hey, no excuses now. We all have contact, so we'll leave it at that. But a great big thank you to Critical Mass Radio Online. You've been listening to Where Eagles Soar. Here on Saturday nights with Kate of Gaia, that's myself, and of course Kyler Davenport and special guest Karen Ann McDonald. The KKK show. Let's get her done.
We love it. We got a new one.
So we'll catch you guys tomorrow night, open forum outside the box here, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard until April 1st. Then we resume our 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Much love to everybody. Thank you so much for all your questions and for being you. Thank you for being the change that you wanted to be. You changed my world, and I can't thank you enough.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Much love, guys.
Okay. Creative bless all that. Have a good one.
You too. Good night.
Best one ever. Night.
Bye.